Hey up everybody, it's Magpie9901 and today's video is all about Doom. Now, I was going to call this a review of Doom, but I don't believe I'm professional enough to give somebody a review of a game where they would then decide whether they bought the game or didn't buy the game. So I'm gonna call it an opinion piece, basically. It's just my honest opinion on a game that I've played. I'm only focusing on the single player of the game because I haven't played the multiplayer apart from in the closed and the open betas, and I didn't really enjoy it, and I don't think many other people out there are enjoying it as much as we would have expected to, so I've left that out for now. I haven't even played it in the final version, just been focusing on the campaign game. And yeah, I'm just going to break it into a few sections and let you know my opinion of the game. Now, looking at the gameplay of Doom, it plays exactly as you would expect for an FPS game, especially one that is Doom, which is basically the granddaddy of FPS games. It more or less closely, very close to other games, more or less created the first person shooter, and it's gory, it's brash, it's in your face, it's what you would want from a Doom game, it's what you would expect from a Doom game. When you're fighting the demons, it's a little bit of like peaks and troughs. You'll come into an area, there'll maybe be a nest that you have to clear out, and you'll clear them all of the enemies out, and then you're more or less left to it to explore that area that you've cleared, look for the hidden things that there are to find in the game, look for the key cards that you need to progress through that level, and then as you move on you'll move into another area where you've got to clear out the enemies again. Now, an interesting thing that they've added in this game is the melee attack, whereby if you shoot an enemy, say you've got the pulse cannon, shoot them a couple of times and they will start to flash orange. Now you can run up to this enemy, pressing F on your keyboard will activate what's called the glory kill. And this is basically whereby your character will grab the enemy, punch them, tear an arm off, tear a leg off, and it's really gory, but it looks really cool. It's really good to do, and it also can save you a lot of ammo when you're playing in some of the levels. You might be struggling for ammo, but they're a good addition to the game. Good bit of gore and a bit of over-the-top violence. That's what we all want to see in a game like this. Another way that you can take the enemies out is once you're so far into the game, you'll get the chainsaw, which is ace. The good thing with the chainsaw is that when you kill an enemy with that, they will drop a large amount of ammunition. Now, ammunition is quite abundant in the levels, but it does seem to be that you'll get to that point where you're fighting a lot of enemies and you start to run low. So using the chainsaw on a few enemies is a good way to get that ammo back. Your health within the game doesn't automatically regenerate like it does in a lot of games these days. It's health packs or health stations. Again, killing an enemy with the chainsaw will give you health too, but it's, I don't know, as I'm playing it, I'm finding it quite difficult in some parts. Even just playing on normal mode, I do seem to run out of health a hell of a lot. So it's good to keep an eye on your health. Watch out for where the health packs are, especially the health stations. You can remember where they are because they will boost your health to maximum. Also, another thing to note with your ammunition is that you can't reload any weapon. Your weapons will basically fire until there's nothing left in the mag, and then they will reload themselves, which I found that a little bit odd, but you do get used to it as the game goes on. Your character is in permanent run mode, which when I first started playing Doom, I'd just finished playing The Division, or should I say I had been playing The Division because there isn't really an end to it. But yeah, I thought the character in The Division was quite well paced, quite quick, and then when I went on to Doom, I'm like, Jesus Christ, he was running really fast. If you press left shift, all that does is put your character into walk mode, which I can't really, I've done it twice and that was by accident because I was expecting to be able to run faster by pressing left shift, which you can't. So that took a little bit of getting used to for me because the character does seem to move really fast at first, but I've soon got used to that. So yeah, the gameplay is really good, it's really solid. A lot of work's obviously gone into this game. The level design is really good. I found myself getting quite frustrated at some points because I kept getting lost, couldn't find my way around, but then that's the essence of a game. It's to solve the puzzle and find the way out. You know, it gets frustrating after a while if you can't do it, but rather that than be given clues as to where to go all the time, you know, you've got to get out there and explore it for yourself and have a good look around, and that's what the game is all about. And next I'm going to move on to graphics, which are the sore subject in PC gaming for me. I absolutely detest the constant comparisons that people do with regards to PC graphics. And by this I mean these are the comparisons that quite a few major websites do, a lot of YouTubers do, whereby they go, oh, the game runs this fast on this setup. Wow, great, good for you. I don't really care. You know, I could have exactly the same setup and get 10-15 FPS more, or 50 FPS less. There are so many variables in PC gaming that it's just pointless doing these comparisons. I hate them. There's no need for them. They're just a waste of time. I mean, they employ people to do these. They employ them to sit in a room all day, building rigs, putting them together, downloading games, playing the game, posting a stupid picture of the FPS, and what for? You know, if you have a graphics card that's 3 years older or less, and you have a CPU that doesn't bottleneck that graphics card, then in Doom you're going to get good visuals. That's all that really needs to be said about it. You know, if you're running a 970, a 980, a 980 Ti, a Titan, I can't go into AMD cards because I don't really do them, but you know, a 1070, a 1080, you're going to get good gameplay out of it. The graphics are gorgeous in this game. The textures are good, everything looks good, the character models are really good, they move really well, and that's all that really needs to be said about graphics. Like I say, it was probably a subject that I'll have to put in another video, because I could just rant all day about it, but we'll leave that one for now. Next we're going to talk about the sounds within the game. There's not a great deal to say about the sounds in games, or sounds in a lot of games really. They don't seem to get the emphasis put on them that graphics does, or even gameplay to a lesser extent. But the sounds within Doom are really good. The gun sounds are good. You'll rarely hear your character running, which is a bit of a letdown to me. I like to hear my character running. It gives you that sense that your character is moving at the speed you're moving on the screen. It's only when things are very, very quiet that you'll hear your character's actual footsteps. But yeah, like I say, the weapon sounds are good. When you go into a nest and it starts to spawn a lot of demons, you get a good soundtrack in the background. That soundtrack phases out, so you know that you've killed everything in that area, which is basic for a lot of games these days. So there's not really much more can be said about sounds, to be honest. That's about it. Now there is one thing that Doom has done for me which no other games have recently done, or ever done, to be honest, and that is make me realise just how old I'm getting. I mean, I'm 36 at the end of this month. I've been a PC gamer for the best part of 20 years now, and it was the original Doom back in 1993 that kicked things off for me. I remember I was in an IT class at school, and you always had the teacher sat at the front of the class with the slightly higher spec computer than the rest of the room. He had to have the best one, obviously. He had the CD-ROM drive, and he had the little 5-watt speakers at the side of the monitor. He had the 19-inch screen, whereas everybody else had a 14 or 15-inch screen. And we noticed him playing a game, and up until this point I'd only ever known consoles. Apart from an Amiga and the Spectrum, it was Master System, Mega Drive, things like that. And so I'm playing this game, and it was so different from anything else I'd ever seen. And me and a few of my friends ended up staying behind after school and played this game, and I think we played for about an hour and a half, and I was hooked. And I knew then that it was the start of something that has become a bit of an obsession for me. I've loved PC gaming, I've always enjoyed it. There's only been maybe the last few years where I've gone off it, and I started gaming more on a PS4 than I did on the PC. Main reasons for that was that my rig just wasn't powerful enough to give me the visuals that I wanted to have. I know that the PS4 wasn't giving me the visuals that I wanted, but it was giving me it with none of the hassle. So I stuck to that for a bit, but now I'm on a new rig and I'm able to play things a hell of a lot better. But that day was... it's going to sound really stupid, but it changed my life. And when I played this Doom, or what should I say, when I heard that they was bringing this Doom out, I know that there's been Dooms previous to this. The one on the PS1 was a good one, I enjoyed that one. But the last couple I haven't enjoyed, they haven't been as good, they haven't lived up to the namesake. The first game set the bar so high for games like this, and this game meets that and exceeds that bar that was set by the original. But it's not the game's fault that I'm feeling the way I am. I expected this game to give me that same level of excitement as that first game did, and it can't, because it's not new to me. It's something that I've been doing for years and years. FPS games have been around since that original Doom, if not just before. But that was the game that started it for me, and I wanted this game to make me feel like it did that day. And it can't, because it's not genre defining. It's not a seismic shift in the way we play games. It's just an updated good game. I think the next thing that's going to give me that feeling of excitement, that feeling of awe, that feeling of wow, this is something special, is probably going to be VR gaming. Now, I haven't tried any VR gaming yet. I do have a friend that's developing on the HTC Vive. Told me that I can have a go on the headset when I next go down, so I'm hoping to do that at some point in the next few weeks. And I'm also hoping that gives me the seismic shift that I'm looking for. That gives me that excitement, that gives me that wow, that is new, that's going to be where it's at for quite a while. So I wanted Doom to do that for me, but it couldn't. It was never going to be able to. So it was wrong of me to at first slate the game because I didn't get so excited. But I've played hours and hours at the game now, and it's, you know, to summarise it, it's brilliant. It's a really solid game. Hell of a lot of work's gone into it, you can tell. It is the best single player campaign I have played for quite a few years. Probably Wolfenstein The New Order was the last one that was a good, noticeable campaign game for me. There's way too many games these days dropping single players or outsourcing it to a lesser company so that they can just focus on the multiplayer. You know, not everybody wants to go online and play games like that. They want a single player, they want something that they can play at their own pace, something that isn't dictated by somebody else, something that doesn't rely on a really good stable internet connection, something that they're not going to get berated by other people or picked on or shouted at or swore at. You know, people sometimes just want to enjoy a single player game, and that is exactly what Doom is. I can't recommend it highly enough. I ain't going to score it because what's the point? It's stupid doing scores for them. But I would recommend it to anybody that wants to sink a few good hours into a single player campaign. It definitely gets my seal of approval. And that is really all I've got to say on Doom. I don't know if I'll post any more videos regarding Doom. This is like my final thoughts on the game, but I am still playing it and enjoying it. So yeah, if you liked the video, please like it. If you didn't like it, please dislike it, that's fine. Comment if you want to, and please subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.